Hi everyone, my name is Karin Miller. I am the owner and founder of Zen Tenkara, and I just am very excited to talk to you a little bit about our floating lines because we've been really working hard with a new manufacturer, a new extruder in getting these lines what we feel are even better than what they were before, and really striving to be innovative and creating something that's just really unique. I do want to say that the one thing that I am really proud of as a company owner is that at Zen we are innovative. We are not copying other people. We're not creating what I call piece together project products. We are actually producing novel things that were not in existence prior to our development. And our floating lines are just that. There are other companies out there that offer a floating line, and these lines are what I call craft project lines. They're lines that are being produced and put together by chopping up other lines and using backing to create loops and sort of piecemealing them into a craft project. Now they may work, that's fine, but I just want to blow a little hot air up our own skirt by saying we're not doing that. We're actually innovating and creating unique products. These are all samples of lines that we have run over the last about 7 months. And I just want to tell you a little bit about what goes into developing a new product or improving one that's already in existence, something that we're already doing, and something that I'm very, very proud of as the owner of the company. When we set out to make a Tenkara line, an all-purpose floating line, there was a lot of thought that went into it. We knew furled lines were easy to cast, and they gave a lot of feedback, and they were great at casting through wind. But we also knew that they absorbed water, they could stretch, they were a little heavier in their presentation. And so there were some things that we didn't love about those furled and braided lines. Tenkara level lines, which are fluorocarbon, colored fluorocarbon, we considered offering, and those are available through a few manufacturers, and you decide on a color and you decide on a size, and they'll package it for you, or sometimes you can put your own label on it. And there's only a couple of manufacturers really in the world that make fluorocarbon. But we didn't love fluorocarbon in the sense that it was a little bit harder to cast for people that did not have as much finesse or were learning. It was really tough to cast in the wind often, especially to keep your fly on the water in high wind situations. It would often just, your fly would just float away along with your line because it was so delicate. If it got caught in a tree and you pulled back on it at all, there was that whole slinky effect that fluorocarbon can have. And there was a lot of tying of knots and things, which to me, it's certainly not hard, but it's more time consuming. And one of the great things about Tenkara is that it's a quick and easy setup. So the less that I have to tie and spend time doing that with a very, very thin, often hard to see material, the easier it is for me. So I like the idea of something that had connection loops and was already set and ready to go, and could be connected like the furled and braided lines with a connection loop. The nylon lines that are out there, years ago we carried them, but they had that same memory. They floated, but they had that slinky effect, that kind of bird's nest effect, as far as tangles. And they just weren't very, for lack of a better word, very sexy. There are hybrid lines out there, which years ago we carried, and we ditched the product. Other companies have picked those products up, but we ditched them for a reason, because we didn't really love them. And they were sort of crude in their appearance and in their presentation. So we pondered, how can we, kind of take the best of both worlds and put it into something unique? And we came up with this really incredible line that has a nylon core and a plastic coating over it, a type of plastic coating, and it's very supple. It's very easy to cast, much easier than than nylon line or Tenkara level line, aka fluorocarbon. Yet it's much more delicate and precise than furled or braided lines. And we wanted the option of being able to fish this line very traditionally, meaning off the water, and to be able to do fly first presentations. But we also wanted to be able to throw on a long line and do a long cast onto water if there were fish on the other side of the river that we couldn't reach. And rather than just walking past and saying, well, I can't reach them with my short line, I want to put on a heavy line and actually get those fish that are over there that I can see. Why walk away when they're right there, right? But without a reel, they're not within reach. So I can quickly change my line and put on a longer line, and because it floats, I can do a more traditional fly fishing type of cast and mend and swing my fly over there and not have to give up fish that are within view because my line is too short, or on a level line, aka fluorocarbon, it'll sink and drag my fly down. So these floating lines are something that we are quite proud of, and we put a lot of thought into them. So not only are they very, very light and very delicate and very supple, so they lay out with almost no memory whatsoever in them, but these lines will stay afloat so that you can fish them more traditionally. And we put in the connection loops so that you weren't spending a lot of time tying knots, and you could switch out your line lengths pretty easy. And then we put this really cool high vis section on the line in a bright orange, so you could see that teeny little line, or help you, or that teeny little fly on the surface of the water. And it would allow you to have sort of like a built-in sight indicator. We put a tippet ring on there for you so that it would protect the coating of our line, but we left this loop for your convenience. So if you wanted to do a loop-to-loop connection, if you're one of those people that hate tying knots or can't see very well, you could do a loop-to-loop connection. The other cool thing is you can go ahead and take a traditional tapered leader, like a Rio trout leader, and attach it to this line, and this 7, 11, 15 foot line, whatever length you have, suddenly gets lengthened by adding, a 7 or a 9 foot tapered leader, and you can attach it with that loop to loop connection very quickly. We also didn't want you fumbling around with these lines and trying to figure out what length line is this when you pull it out of your line wallet. So we color coded the ends, the tag ends, so that you would know very quickly by looking at that tag and what color it is, what length line you have. So this is a 12.5 foot line because it has a red tag. This line right here has a green tag, so I know it's my 15 foot line. So we really tried to be very thoughtful and kind of make your life easier on the water as much as we can. But I did want to talk about how difficult it is. You would think, oh wow, these are just no big deal to just run off this thin line and assemble the lines with some shrink tubing. No. For 7 months since we have switched to a new manufacturer that is local here in the States, as a matter of fact, we have produced and run all of these samples trying to get it just right. And not just right, but even better, okay? And all of these samples, whether it is the thickness of the line, whether it is the melt rate, whether it is the pound test, the diameter of the line, or even the texture, the finished texture and slickness of the line has to be just right. And I'm very persnickety. So I wanted to show you this just so that you could appreciate what goes into producing our floating lines, and how we have worked very hard to produce a product that is really going to excel on the water and hold up to various tests. And when we produce this line, we put it through all kinds of tests in labs to confirm all the properties are there that we're looking for. So it's a complicated and lengthy process. And actually, to be candid, for a small company like Zen Tenkara, boutique company, it's a costly process. But we are very proud of the product that we create because it's unique. It's not a craft project, and it's nothing that existed prior to us making it. And it is specifically for the Tenkara angler. This is our final run, one of the samples of our final run that we finally did the go ahead. So after 7 months of working, trying to get the recipe just right and even tweak it regarding a few things to make it even better, we finally have come up with that. And it is a labor of love. And so I hope that you thoroughly enjoy our Zen Tenkara floating all-purpose lines, and know that a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of heart and soul goes into making that product. It's a very personal project for us, and it's one that we are extraordinarily proud of. So thank you so much